Welcome back, friends. In this video I'll be replacing the drive shaft on a 2010 Nissan Rogue S all-wheel drive. It is not a front-wheel drive because we have a drive shaft going to the rear of the tires, so it's obviously an all-wheel drive. Okay, but if you haven't already, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel content for more, and hey, have fun! So the drive shaft was causing a vibration due to that U-joint causing, there was play in a U-joint, so it was just causing a vibration. This vibration caused the whole vehicle to vibrate at about anything over 30 miles an hour. So I had to replace the drive shaft. Replacing the drive shaft isn't the hard part. I had no issues replacing the drive shaft. The only concern I had was the fact that who thought of the idea to put the bolt right there underneath the exhaust pipe, and was I supposed to take the exhaust pipe off? Or was I just supposed to go around? Obviously, they cut a slit in it, so I assumed that they wanted me to go around the exhaust pipe. Who knew? But it's not that hard to remove and replace a drive shaft to a 2010 Nissan Rogue. One of the big things I had was removing the drive shaft. The vehicle did need to be elevated off the ground, all four wheels. And that was one of those things that needed to come off the ground. Now, it's a really simple process overall, and hopefully you enjoy. So let's get
We got
right
this drive shaft here. Oh, that's a hot exhaust pipe I just touched.
I'm going to start by dropping the exhaust pipe right here. Pulling that rubber boot off and flipping it off. If we look here, you can see this thing is just trashed. Using a wire brush up along here, just going to brush these threads off a little bit. Or zipping them with my 16mm impact. Spray it with a little bit of penetrating oil if the can actually works. Doing the same for the other side, which is going to be a slight bit more difficult. On this side we have those 14mm bolt nuts. Just going to give those a little bit of penetrating oil before shifting the vehicle into neutral. Okay.
You got to see this.
Well, that's a problem. I don't know if you can see that yoke and that U-joint right there. Wowzers! Using a 14mm, I'm going to slip that 14mm right here and loosen these 4 bolts. Using this pry bar, I'm just going to jam it in there and kind of loosen this. There we go. There's one. Just hold it. Bring the car down, put it into neutral, and then spin the drive shaft. Okay, now we're in reverse. Neutral. Shut the car off completely. There we go. Now with that loosened and in neutral, I can spin this drive shaft so I can get, considering that one's loose, now I can get this next one. Looks like I'm gonna jostle you in there. Right there. Loosen this one. There we go. Loosen this bolt. There we go. Now that all those are loosened, I can move to the next bolt. This one may be a little more difficult to see. There's 4, as you can see me spinning this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are 14mm bolts holding those holding that end of the drive shaft to the vehicle. I'm going to try a 14mm, see if I can get in there with this. It looks like I can. So I'm going to try, or I can get it from the bottom here, but I'm going to try right here first. See if I can get this loose. There's 1, let's do 2. Ooh, too far. 3. Far. Okay, there's 4. Using a 16mm, I'm going to loosen and remove these 2 nuts that are holding. These are studs and nuts. one. The big one is kind of underneath the exhaust manifold, so you kind of have to jostle it in against here. That is very loud. Let's see if I can push this aside a little more, give me a little more room. There we go. Number 2 is loosened. Now this is free. So now that those bolts are free, I can loosen and remove these bolts. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. There's 1, 2. There's 4. I can remove the 4 bolts, holding the drive shaft to the output side of the CVT transmission. I don't know if you can see it. 1, 2, that's 3. Okay, there's 4. Now I can pull this whole drive shaft assembly up and out. You might bend the shield a little bit. That's to be expected. Slide this out, just like that. And then slide this whole unit up. Booyah! We've got the old and the new drive shafts in place. And then I can also show you what was causing the vibration. I set this tripod down. It's hard to move as well. So this drive shaft is clearly old and bad. You can also look at the condition of this bushing here. I can actually shift this bushing. So all of this needs to be replaced. So right on each side, there's a small little pin right there and right there that need to be slid out so I can shift it over to the new drive shaft. Okay, all I'm gonna do to shift these out, I'm just gonna take a flathead here and kind of just tap the flathead. Just like that. Same thing for the other side. Just like that. Making sure the overall length is correct, which I did. I can pop this off, making sure that that stays the top. Pop the bracket off of the bottom, and transfer that over to the new drive shaft. Just like this. Okay. And then I take the little pins, and I can slide those right back in. Where'd that pin go? There we go. There we go. Now we're seated. All right, look at this bushing. Not much left of it, is there? Now we can install it back in the vehicle. Alrighty, with this new drive shaft ready to go in, I'm going to just slide the 4 mounting bolts. Slide it up and over the exhaust shield like I took it out. And I just jostle it in there. Oops. This is the one right here with all that in there. Kind of snaking it back through. Sorry, exhaust shield. But I think you're perfect now. Then I can slide that up and into place. Starting with the 2 16mm nuts I removed to hold the center of the drive shaft in place for the carrier bearing. I'm just going to loosely tighten those by hand before torquing them down. Oh, videotaping myself. No worries. Okay, same thing. I'm just going to loosely fit this 16mm nut. There we go. Now I got to swivel. Got to get around this exhaust manifold so I can get this bolt at least started like that. Such weird angles. I kid you not. I'm losing exhaust shield bolt, but as long as this is starting to go up, I'm satisfied. Gotta support this end. just like that. But I'll come back to that when I torque it down. Let's get the rest of this in line. I'm gonna bring back these 14mm bolt and nuts. I'm just gonna slide the bolt through and put the nut on the back side, just like that. Rotate it. Do the same. Whoops. That just fell in a grate. I'll grab it in a sec. Okay, there we go. 3. Let me get this lined up. There we go, and then because the bolt's actually in the grate, I gotta come back and grab it. Rescued from the drain, I can install that last one. Right there, you can kind of see where they're on a line. Not aligned. Pull this forward just slightly, ever so slightly. Kind of line those up. So now these holes are aligned. I'm gonna try and reach in here and get this bolt started. Oh yeah, there's one. Just like that. You see how you take a sec to take a breather and then you can get these in here easy. Spin this around so you can see this. There we go. Let's do number 2. Probably have to go number 2 right now. Okay, now let's do number 3. There we go. And now if these don't go in by hand, then you got a problem. There's number 4, all good. Now let's get these torqued down. All right, I'm gonna torque those 2 nuts to 33 foot-pounds, and I just hit the hoist. Using that 16 mil, we're gonna torque it to 33 foot-pounds. Who thought it was a good idea to do this? I think they expected you to take the exhaust manifold off and do this. Rechecked. Okay, those are good. That's in place. All right, we can move to the other side. 37 foot-pounds. I'm gonna torque these 2 using a small extension. I'm just gonna take the box end wrench, hold the nut while I torque the bolt to 37 foot-pounds using that 14mm. There we go. Rotate it ever so slightly. Do the same for all 4. There we go. Okay, all torqued. 36 foot-pounds for those up there. Right in there, just like that, bend the shield back up.
What was that, folks? Hopefully this video aided in the repair and replacement of your 2010 Nissan Rogue Driveshaft. Though the years and the models, submodels could be varied, hopefully this aided in the removal and replacement of a 2010 Nissan Rogue Driveshaft. Now, as I said, it was a really simple process. I don't know why they put that bolt right there by the exhaust pipe. I didn't really figure out. I just pushed the exhaust aside and called it a day. But hopefully it helped, and as normal, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my channel content for more, and hey, have fun. I've got new glasses. They are clear.